Well, hello there, friends. I'm Madeleine Harvey, and thank you so much for being with me today. The whole purpose of today's video is to talk about those things that are going to be required from you to make it in a career in the music business. Now, we're going to delve into demystify that rather confusing and elusive creative process for you. That way you have all those pieces in place that are necessary for a nice, supportive, joyful, worthwhile artistic journey. We're going to engage in a conversation, you and me, a nice supportive one that's all about self-empowerment. The topic of today's video is 3 traits you need in order to become successful. Now, this is going to be true for anything, but I'd like you to focus these qualities on the music industry should you decide to pursue a career as an artist of music. Now, whether you're a new artist starting out or you've been at music for a while, you might have struggled a little bit with what is required on the deeper level from you. And I want to prepare you to support yourself for this journey. And I'd like to start by talking about those things that most people struggle with. And those are 3 things that you think you need, but you really don't. So let's get those out of the way to make some room for those things that you absolutely will need to support you on your journey. Are you ready to get started? So the very first trait that I'd like to talk to you about today that you don't need, but you may think you do, is passion. Now I'm going to ease into this one. The word passion is incredibly intense and really intimidating. And frankly, it can seem out of reach for most of us, living mortal lives here. We may think that people with that kind of passion, is reserved for geniuses or, virtuosos or people that were specifically touched by God. But that isn't the case. Passion is one of those things that is that invigoration of an idea coming to life. It can be just a little flicker, and it can turn into a flame. But it's about a relationship more than anything else. And what I hear from people who are trying to create a career for themselves in the arts, specifically in music, is they'll say, I don't know if I'm passionate about it. And I'll say, don't worry about that. Just get to work. Follow the things that interest you, even if it's a mild interest. Because let me tell you a quick story. I used to buy in to the preaching of passion as the ultimate ingredient in a life of purpose and fulfillment. Until one day, honestly, my passion took a hike. It went on vacation. It just disappeared. And I freaked out a little bit. I was completely restless, disinterested, a little cranky, to be honest with you. I didn't know what to do with myself. So after a time of chasing my tail, trying to feel again the way that I felt about music and about singing and not really feeling much in there, I found myself binge watching Netflix at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My head is reeling through doomsday scenarios of, oh my God, what if my passion never comes back? Well, what did I create in all that time? Nothing. I was waiting to be buzzed to life again. I was waiting for my hair to ignite on fire. But that's just not the way it works sometimes. Let's say, for example, let's say that you are incredibly passionate, very excitable person. That's wonderful. And you do your creative project and you put it out there. And let's say that the world doesn't respond to it in the way that you had responded to it. Well, a little bit of that fire can go out. And let's say, you try to build yourself up to the next time. and the world doesn't respond to it in quite the way that you had hoped, a little bit of that fire can go out. So passion is a wonderful way to get you started. But passion is not going to be that sustaining force. Can't get a lot of things done with your hair on fire. However, it is very good to use passion to help you discern what it is that you value, what it is that you love, what do you get excited about. Well, then submerge yourself in that completely. But when you feel a little drained, also take time to rest. But you do not need to feel this way all the time. So if you are finding that you're not quite sure where your passion went, you don't get as excited, like as if you're completely like on fire about your art the way that you did before, and you're maybe thinking that something may be wrong and it may not be right for you. That's not necessarily the case at all. It's just that maybe your passion has gone on vacation, and we need to find those things that we're interested again. We need to find those things that are going to help us stay invested in being a little interested. Okay? So it's not a big deal. Let your passion go on vacation. I have just the answer for you in what you do need. So, if you don't necessarily need passion all the time, what do you need? Number 1, curiosity. Curiosity, I believe, is the big secret to success. Curiosity is what keeps our hearts light and playful, especially when we feel a little confused, blocked, or insecure, or when our passion decides to take a vacation. Curiosity is that thing that captures our attention and then our imagination with that playful string of, I wonder. And if you just trust and you follow that wee little nugget like a clue in a game, curiosity will show you exactly what to do next. This is creativity, my friends, and curiosity is your teacher. So trust completely in your sense of fascination in the same way that you did when you were little, when you were a child. Yes, sometimes big, life-altering ideas, they will hit us like a bolt of lightning, just like passion. But we can't wait for that, because most times, it is that quiet little invitation to come explore those little nuggets that are hidden sort of deep on the inside. So if you're a songwriter, I would like for you to invite that playful sense of curiosity into your next writing session. Like, I wonder what these 2 chords would sound like together. Or I wonder what would happen if I switched the point of view. Or I wonder what would happen if ... fill in that blank. I want you to keep your heart light and playful, because curiosity is what's going to nourish your soul as you move through your career from start all the way through. It makes it fun, it makes it interesting, and it keeps us invested, and we absolutely need it. Another aspect of creativity that a lot of people try to live up to because they honestly feel that they need it, but they don't. Number 2, perfection. There once was a man who went to a tailor to purchase a suit. And as he stood there before the mirror, he noticed on his vest that the left side was much shorter than the right side. "Oh, that's nothing. Don't worry," said the tailor. "Just take your left hand and give it a little tug, and everything will be perfect. No one will notice." As the man did this, he noticed that the lapel on his jacket seemed to curl up instead of laying flat. "Oh," said the tailor, "that's an easy fix. Just turn your head and hold it down with your chin, and it'll be fine." So as the man did this, he noticed that the inseam on his pants became a little too uncomfortable because it would rise up. "That's an easy fix," said the tailor. "Just take your right hand and tug it down, and everything will lay perfectly." So the man did all of this, and he did indeed notice that the suit laid perfectly. So he purchased the suit. The very next day, he wanted to wear his new suit with all of the accompanying hand-chin alterations through the park. And as he limped along, two men who were playing checkers stopped and took notice. "Oh, my gracious," said the first man. "Look at that poor, crippled man." The second man nodded, reflected a bit. "Yeah, the limping really is too bad. But where did he get such a nice suit?" I love to tell this story as it pertains to the concept of creativity, because the reaction of that second man clearly exemplifies a common cultural response towards a persona who has developed such an impeccable perfection, but who is all crippled on the inside trying to maintain it. I've seen this happen time and time again with singers who try to live up to the idea of perfection with their voices. They try to achieve that perfect pre-packaged sound that it seems like everyone says a singer should have. But the problem with this is that they employ all of those hand-chin alterations to their voice, and yes, they may get a lovely sound. And that feels good, that feels nice. But sooner or later, they start to limp because they feel stuck in a voice that is not their own. And what's worse is that they have no idea of the raw, awesome power that lives inside of them because they're too busy pulling at their crotch trying to get the perfect fit. So listen here, friends. If you find yourself thinking that you can't step out and share with the world the things that you create until you have reached some ridiculous level of flawlessness, I just want to say that that's hogwash. And it's this type of tomfoolery that has the world believing in some sort of magical, mystical thing called talent. To say that you have a voice that's different, and that's the same as saying you have no talent, is like saying you have no value and you have no right to use your voice to express your joy and to explore the depths of your soul. And those that do have perfect voices and therefore have talent are the only ones that can create the world's art, and they must have been hand-selected by a committee of their peers, due in part to some sort of freak accident of nature by which no one has any control. It's so silly. It's like saying the rest of us are condemned to a life of commonplace and boredom, the feeling of complete worthlessness, and the utter lack of the magic of existence. It's silly. Don't waste your time with this. Don't let it drain your energy. If you feel called to sing, sing. And if you have a voice that's different, even better. The world loves different. You don't have time to think about all this. You have beauty to create. So stop grumbling. Stop eating potato chips. Find 2 socks that match. Tie your shoes or Velcro them. No one's judging. And get to work. There's not a single person who's ever created anything artistically or creatively that didn't have to work for it to some capacity. And there's not a single soul who's been through this crazy thing called creativity who didn't have to engage and meet life head on and deal with some form of disappointment and challenge. And I, for one, I can't be bothered with the distinction between high and low art. I will fall asleep in my spaghetti plate if I'm made to listen to a discourse between the distinction of mastery and mere common craft. No, don't let this drain you, friends. You are far more valuable than this. You do not need perfection. What you do need, number 2, courage. So you need courage. And it isn't going to be easy. In fact, it may be the hardest thing you ever do. But to create anything with your life, you need to possess this fierce sense of courage that you are allowed to at least try. Courage would have you stand on your own 2 feet wherever you are in life, wherever you are in the world, and step boldly out into the world and supporting this crazy notion that you're allowed to be here. You have a right to exist. You have a right to use your own voice and to create the life that you would like to see for yourself. Now, again, I said that this is probably going to be one of the hardest things you do because it isn't the haters out there in the world that we have to face. It is ourselves. We all have this nasty voice that lives inside of us that says, "You're stupid. You're ugly. You serve no purpose. Go hide. Get back in your hole. You're not special." And courage would have you engage in a more supportive conversation that not by saying, "I am the greatest," no, but by saying, "I am here and I'm allowed to be here. And I may not be who I want to be just yet, but I have the courage to at least try, and I have the right to that." So you see, friends, it's a lot like negotiating a hostage situation. And when that happens, when you feel overrun with those negative thoughts, I want you to try to go to a mirror, and I want you to look right in your own eyes, and I want you to say, "Wake up. I am a singer. I am a songwriter. I love to do Kung Fu and Taekwondo, and I love gardening, and I love this, and I love that, and I'm a kick-ass chef of anything that can be made into a mini muffin tin. And hey, maybe I don't even know what I am yet, but I'm curious enough to find out." And if you do this enough, you will have changed yourself from the inside out. And it isn't because you're the world's greatest anything. It's because you honestly believe in your value and honestly believe that you have a right to exist. And this leads you straight into confidence. You're worth it, friends. So stick with it. Have courage. So now we come to our final aspect of this crazy thing called creativity. And this aspect is something that so many people think that they need and they're waiting for, but they don't need it at all. Number 3, permission. You need no one's permission to be who you are, nor their blessing to go make your music. So go do your thing because it makes you happy to do so, because it makes you feel alive. Of course, there are always going to be those people that seem to think that the world's art belongs only to those with master's degrees or those that have won a competition or have a whole bunch of awards, and that somehow validates and decrees their work over yours. Well, they are wrong, and they are stupid and annoying, and you shouldn't listen to them. They're not the boss of you. You are. So when someone tries to tell you that you are not destined for great things simply because you say so, because you're the boss of you, I would strongly encourage that you smile, give them the finger, and then politely go about making your art because it makes you happy. Okay? Now, if you find yourself holding yourself back, waiting until you've won that competition, or until you get that award, or until your mother finally says, "Yes, you're a wonderful singer. You should go do that," then I would tell you this. No one is beyond criticism. Nobody. There are people out there that think that the Taj Mahal is a little, big. They don't like it. Well, okay. That's their thought. That's really none of our business. But it's a hard thing to let people have their own thoughts, especially when it doesn't honor you. But what I would like for you to do is employ your courage. You have a right to be here. You have a right to your voice. So remind yourself of that, wake yourself up to that, and continue making your art. Our final aspect that we are going to need Number 3, commitment. Oh, commitment. There is nothing that is more profound and powerful than the act of making a choice. Oh, sets fire to the world in the best way. But it's not just in making the choice. It's in becoming the choice. Over and over and over again. That's why we need courage with us. Courage wakes us up to that nasty voice, and commitment follows us through. We're going to need commitment. It empowers us to forge our way through the world, claiming our right to do so, owning who we are. And we're going to need commitment for those times that we may want to look to the right, left, and look to the right to compare ourselves with other artists, or maybe second guess ourselves when we see our friends have gone, the conventional route, and they've got this and they've got that, and I don't have this or that. Am I doing the right thing? You'll need commitment. You'll need to remind yourself of why you're doing this. But more specifically, there are a lot of ways that we unknowingly sort of give our energy and our time away. So commitment reminds us to protect our time, to spend that time with our craft and protect it fiercely. You know what pulls me away? I've had to really reel myself in on this one, is a dirty house. Because it reminds me, right? Reminds me of all those things I'm not doing. So I go, I know I said I would write, but this laundry really needs folding and it really irks me and I wish it wasn't there. Or these dishes, and I know I said I would write. My commitment has taught me how to go, dishes, you can stay. Laundry, you can stay. Right now, I'm going to sit my butt on my couch and I'm going to stare at a piece of paper, and I'm just going to be in that zone. I'm going to come back to myself because I made a commitment. It's not easy. It's not easy because we get tired. We get drained from the day. But the commitment reminds us why we're doing all of this. And commitment also teaches us that awesome sense of ownership when we say, no, this is my dream, and no complex, no culture, no teacher, no high-sounding, aristocratic, pedagogical, or political la is going to take it from me. It is mine. I am committed. So you're going to need commitment. It's going to teach you ownership and confidence in the most amazing way. Your creative life is going to burn in more ways than one simply because you made a choice and you became that choice. So let me remind you, 3 things you think you need, but you really don't. Passion, perfection, permission. See what I did there? You don't need them. Those are energy drains. The 3 things you need instead: curiosity, courage, and commitment. When you have those things, you will make it. You will make it. We will all know your name. We'll know your songs. We'll be singing along to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. I'd love to hang out with you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know this may have been a long video, and I appreciate you for being here. I have enjoyed making this video. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about, and I'm really grateful to be able to make this video for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye!